So today I would like to start by introducing Madhu. Madhu has transitioned herself from being a housewife to to a buyer, exporter, and then finally she built up a reputed buying agency, QC International, in 1993, with a vision to change the perception of the Indian industry by ensuring a best quality products and servicing her clients with a value-based and ethics and integrity. Linda, she is a founder of Cantonian Buying Agency. Linda is a Swedish national and moved to India in July 2000 at the age of 25, and she has established a license office of Swedish retail chain called Lindex. Linda instantly fell in love with India and the culture, and as well as the beautiful clothes that only India could produce. Today with us none other than Saren. He's a founder and he's a chairman and the founder of Tukatech. For half a century, Saren has served the garment industry with an extensive history characterized by one word: disruptive. The philosophy is ingrained in Tukatech, the fashion technology solution company Saren founded in 1995. Tukatech is credited with successful bringing digital patterns from various parts of the countries and are innovative leaders in actual sample making for designs fit with a real-time motion and simulation. They were the first to develop and implement on-demand manufacturing process and are known for advanced cutting room solutions. I would like to start off today's conversation with all the three of them in the room. I would like to start off with Madhu. Madhu, you being at the helm of the industry, as transited yourself from being an exporter to a buying agent yourself, and you have been developing a lot of intuitiveness or towards the vendors, helping them on the QC side, quality checking side. So what is your perception of technology in today's time, and what do you think is technology driving today's business, especially the textile business?
Thanks, Sonal, for this opportunity to share the platform with the stalwarts Saren and Linda Augustsson. Yeah, you're right that there has been a remarkable change in our society, in our industry. See, this COVID situation has given us the much needed time for introspection on improving our working, both as producers and as buyers. Though the issues had been brewing since some time, much before COVID, but the COVID has speeded up this besides bringing it its own challenges. One thing that we have realized is that now business has changed. Everything, the way you are conducting a business, there has been a big change in it, and we got to accept it. Change is the buzzword. Though throughout the supply chain, companies that adapt to change are the ones that will survive. Change, as by my thinking, is a constant ongoing factor across all industries. We have enough examples of different industries to prove this point. We now have got to be the receptive to the requirements of the consumers as well as our environment. There is need to be more eco-friendly, and sustainability is of paramount importance. And now we also notice that we are going to be working, there is more of work from home than from the offices. So we all have to adjust. So that is also part of a change. And then also, finance, because there has been so much of long period of inactivity around us that there's companies which were earlier cash rich have now started also feeling the financial constraint. But we all have to fight all this. So we need to be focused and promote what India is good at, not at aping others or thinking, oh, they are doing so good, we will never be able to do. Yes, if we focus on our strengths, we definitely are going to be able to capitalizing it and undoing it. And then we have a communication challenge. As mentioned earlier, that now business meetings are not like face-to-face, or they are visiting us, we are visiting them. It is over the virtual space, and all of us will have to adapt to that scenario, not looking at the times, not looking at anything else, but be equipped to handle virtual meetings, which should be handled not like just chatting, but it should be like a true business meeting where we are interacting in a way, showing a product, showing a trend, talking in exactly the way we would be talking with our customers, either in their office or in our showrooms. So today also, there's also been a massive change in the buying patterns of the industry. More styles will be bought, but in lesser quantity. So do not always think that what we had earlier was big volume, so we're going to do that. No, we got to adapt ourselves, find out ways how we can, produce the smaller runs. The production and samplings all have shorter timelines, not like before. There is no leeway on that. There is no margin. Customers expect us to be ready on time. They have a particular timeline which they want to stick to, otherwise it will make or break their business. So companies who cannot complete within that time frame will definitely be out. So we got to find out ways and means. This is a real challenge faced by most manufacturers, and they're looking at better methods, as old methods are costlier and time consuming. To achieve this, one is looking at technology. One is looking at technology to be able to amalgamate this change into our systems. So one is looking at different technologies to be put in the right places and also understanding its limitations. Technology has to be adapted wherever it can save us cost as well as time. Now, the designers and the factory sample teams are far apart. The close interaction is missing. So 3D technology, it is one of the technologies that we can very easily adapt, which can help us, but we need to understand and know it well. As per my experience, 3D with AI is the key. This will also save on wastage, on the discarded development samples. The amount of discarded samples worldwide is massive and would help in minimizing this. This will speed up the process and the customers would get their samples, final samples, much quicker than before. Yes, there are a lot of other technologies which we can incorporate, but as of now, one of the topic of our webinar is how this technology can help us cut on cost. And 3D is one of the most important ones, which is going to cut out the cost of surplus, superfluous sampling that we do. All the development stage can very easily be done. And there are certain buyers who may not be accepting a 3D method. But if we convince them and we do all the initial stages on 3D, explain to them, and once they see the positivity and the saving of time and the money, they definitely would adopt it. But whereas there are a lot of customers who are already very happy adapting 3D, expecting you to be well equipped to it. So this webinar, I believe, with Mr. Saren being there, he is the pioneer in the 3D technology. He would be able to help more. And I think Linda will have much more to add from the buyer's perspective. Thank you.
Sure.
So over to you, Linda. What do you have to say about the technology at this point in time?
Well, I would like to take it from a slightly different perspective before we throw ourselves into the 3D modern technology. I would like to touch base on the basic expectations of the buyers. And first and foremost, that starts with, as with everything else in life, I would say, our mindset. Our mindset and our willingness to change, to accept that the way we used to work in the past is not going to sustain us for the future. When I say willingness to change, I refer to our best ability, and with due respect to us, that we all have different backgrounds, knowledge, experience, expertise, and not least, of course, financial resources to do so. And the point that I would like to make here specifically is to create awareness and start somewhere. That's how you kick off eventually. My second point on the expectations would be to build relationships and think longevity. Look at yourself as an extended partner and more as compared to how we used to see ourselves as a typical supplier for the customer. The customers today see collaboration partners that help them solving their problem and making their efforts and work much leaner. Another important aspect that we have seen in the last couple of months, very specifically, is that the pricing got to be fair, it got to be fact-based, it got to be transparent. And buyers today are very savvy, they are curious, they will ask questions, they want to understand, and that's exactly where new modern technology comes into play. And my fourth little point here on the expectation side would be to acknowledge the fact that the whole buying cycle and mindset has kind of changed. So what we have seen now in the last couple of months specifically is how the buyers would very often react extremely late into the season. They wouldn't have the time to necessarily develop the sample the traditional way. They would come to us with an inspiration picture and ask, what do you have that is similar to this? Now, in the past, we also, of course, worked like this, where we were keep on feeding the buyers. And our traditional reply would have been, okay, fine, give us a week and we will put together a nice capsule collection for you. And then you have a look and hopefully you will like something. However, today there is no time for that. So we have a couple of suppliers in our supply chain already that do have 3D technology in place. And they are the ones now supporting us as a buying agency in turning around really quick 3D design sketches, which means that we can present within the next 24 hours to the customer. And on the basis of that, they make their selection and we get going much faster with a very final accurate sample going to the buyer. And the last and not least very important point in all this, the way I see it, is to always think about sustainability and responsibility. Sustainability is far more than just thinking about sustainable materials. It is about to always ask yourself, what can I do in a better way and what can I do in a different way so that together we make an impact that is positive for the future. So these are my points that somehow all, the way I see it, goes back to modern technology and how we can actually benefit from it. And I am super excited that Ram is here with us today to educate us and share his knowledge and expertise.
So I would like to ask Madhu. Madhu, what is that first thing that you feel about the technology? And then you have been, I mean, both of you have already been sold out on Ram's before even he talking about it. Yeah. So let us just see what is that you have to say about Ram first of all. You have been knowing him for quite some time. What is the transition you have seen in your business?
You know, a mechanical engineer from India to a very respected apparel expert in the US is Ram Saren. He comes with accumulated knowledge and experience of almost 50 years, which he is now on a sharing journey to benefit everyone. He is in a journey to educate everyone to improve. He highlights the mistakes to gain from them. His favorite is disruption. He's going to explain that much better. His mantra is fashion is fit, which is what motivated him to be Tukatech together with his wife. We all look forward to learn from your experience in various aspects of especially in the garment industry, and also how technology is worthwhile investment, leading to all around gain and profit, whereas there is production as well as dollars, which everybody is looking for. So Ram Saren, please educate all of us.
It's very interesting. We hear from different perspectives, from Linda's, from Madhu's, and even Sonal, believe it or not, you have a lot to add when it comes to what your infrastructure is and how you can merge with technology, because it's the fabrics. That's where it starts from. So in the supply chain or in the manufacturing, if bigger picture is everybody has to be organized. Thinking from the automotive point of view, and that's what I have been benchmarking my entire life. every sector has to be totally connected with other sectors, back, forth, and so on. Most of us get confused. So I'm trying now to explain from my different angle. What we are seeing in Asia today, we saw that 50 years ago in North America when the garment industry was up and coming. We solved most of those problems. Now, we didn't have computers at that time. We didn't have technologies at that time, but we were thinking in a rational mind in how to fix it. I'm going to give you a few examples. About 45 years ago, I came across one guy who, at that time, we didn't have any CAD systems, and he needed to do the costing, how much fabric to buy. In all fabric purchasing, we have to do consumptions. Now, he came up with a fantastic idea that most of us would not even think about. He took 1 square yard of manila paper and weighed it. So he charted the weight. Now he has the same paper being used for making patterns. He took the entire size, all patterns for that size, weighed it. Now he's got the square yardage of that style or that size. By each size getting that total number, it was easier to divide that by 0.8 and say, I get 80% efficiency in the marker. How many square yards do I need? See how simple it was? When we have calculators, we're still not able to figure out what percentage to use because most of us were not given that opportunity. Let me see if I can share this screen. In Asia, I see almost every garment factory. It doesn't matter whether it's India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam. It's like a local culture. You will never see that in North America. You'll never see that in South America, how the fabric is being handled. There are 8, 10, 12 people trying to pull the fabric, cut that by scissors, and sitting on top of the tables. How many of you have seen that, right? Well, number one, it's a $1,500 investment of a push trolley. One person, that's the video I wanted to show, and I'll be more than happy to put that, upload it. $1,500 investment that saves 8 to 10 people and gives you 3 times more productivity. It's a no-brainer. Why are the technology vendors or machinery vendors not offering simple solutions? To understand garment industry, we have to do 2 things. We have to stop thinking that we are the manufacturer of a product. Don't call it, I'm a jeans manufacturer or I'm a shirt manufacturer. I'm a cut and sew business. A lot of us just get totally blocked in our own mind that this is what I do. Let me ask every one of you, you have a sample room, right? You have a sample room. Somebody sends you a request for making a product, whatever sample it is. Right away, you will make a pattern, find the fabric, cut it, and sew it, correct? So what did you do? You use the fabric, you use the cutting, and you use the sewing. It was the 3 products or 3 operations. Think logically. I have the same thing in my sewing. Sewing machine operator doesn't know whether I'm making a side seam of a shirt, of a skirt, of a pant, of a dress. I am doing a side seam. It is only when it gets to 70, 80% assembled, it starts showing up the shape of what this product is. Most of us are blocking our own vision by saying, I only make this product. No, 75 to 80% of your sewing machines do multiple products, multiple operations. This is how you need to start thinking, how do I do whatever comes and whatever is in demand, rather than blocking myself. Go back one step in cutting. Why do I need 20,000 unit order when I can cut maximum 600 to 1,200 garments in one cut? That is my maximum height. That is the number of layers that I can cut in one marker. So my lowest number is 300 to 600. I cut that same thing again and again. It again depends on what my efficiencies are. In my efficiencies, fabric utilization is the lowest hanging fruit. 65 to 75% of your total cost is fabric cost. And I assure you, after being in Asia for so many years now, that almost 10 to 12% savings can come in from buying the right quantity. Don't think that making a tighter marker will be the saving. Savings is total. Go into your own factories and look at the leftover fabrics. All those leftover fabrics was profit in your pocket, that you was a wrong purchase. So what to buy, when to buy, and how much to buy. That is the basic principles of inventory. If you use that fabric in the right width, that means every width variation that you have, if you used it, you are ahead 3 to 4% in fabric consumption. Your total sewing cost is less than 16 to 17%. So even if you save 10% of that, that's 2% of the total cost, which you can save like this in the fabric. In garment, whether you are making for A company or B company, they all have one thing. They all have a person who they are fitting that garment on. Being a supplier, one has to look at what is my strength. In India, especially in India, where we have so many beautiful fabrics, so many trims and embroideries and skills, why are we not really capitalizing on those things? Those are the value add. We are all trying to make a simple garment. It's okay to be a place like Tirupur or Ludhiana, where you make basic products. But those are commodities. Buyers can calculate in a heartbeat what is the cost of yarn, what is the consumption, what is the labor. So all you're doing is trading money, and the risk is too high. What is the value add? If you're not doing the value add, then you are not in the right business. Now, the third thing, which is the most important one, all of you in all vendors category people, don't wait for buyer to tell you what they want. You are the one who's sitting on a factory, who has the capabilities of developing. You have the intelligence, you have the market, you have the information from the market. Look at the internet, what buyer is doing, what kind of products, and how India or your products can add value. Throw enough on the wall, something will stick. That means continue to develop and start giving ideas back to the buyer that this is within your price range and that is within your price range. Thinking logically requires sometimes common sense. I want to talk about in the technology, there is technology for everything. The oxygen room is pattern room. But that doesn't mean that I have to make and remake the same pattern again and again. How do I engineer myself? I have a short video to explain the whole thing, and please bear with that. keep writing your questions and I'm happy to answer. I am advocating the use of technology. Not my technology, not some technology, a technology. Use a technology. Whatever you use, just make sure that it has a connectability with backwards and forward, not within the operations or within the company, but within the supply chain. Thank you, Sunil. You can, if you want, I can take a break and answer any questions, or we can run the little presentation that I made for you.
Los Angeles, California, the design center of the world, not just apparel, but we are considered to be the innovators in designing new products, new movies, and of course, the new technologies. My name is Saren. I'm the founder of Tukatech, a company I started 25 years ago to provide solutions which I think are out of the box rather than fixing the old technologies. We're always looking for a better way, a faster way, a cheaper way, and simpler way. Sometimes people recognize this as disruption. Well, disruption doesn't mean a troublemaker. It just means taking the status quo and simplifying the processes. We now have more than 10,000 systems replaced by some of these companies and a lot more. And none of these were solicited. We don't have a sales team. We are a group of engineers, consultants who provide customized solutions. In order to provide solutions, we got to understand what the problems are. In garment industry, the oxygen room is the pattern room. Without a pattern, there is nothing. Whatever I have done, it adds value to the next person, or it becomes an asset that I can use it again. And that's what computerization is all about. So I'm going to let this video run and explain.
3D fashion design is a powerful tool to see how a garment will look before it is cut and sewn. Tuka 3D takes virtual product development beyond design and into true 3D fitting. With an engineered design process powered by Tukatech's end-to-end fashion technology solutions, the 3D designer's creativity is backed up by smart technical fit. Tuka 3D models are sculpted from 3D body scan data, capturing the correct measurements, shape, and posture of live fit models. Tuka 3D models are animated with real-time motion simulation to analyze garment fit with movement. Once the 3D virtual model is created, the body shape is flattened to a 2D sloper pattern. The 2D sloper is a tracing of the unique curves and contours of the fit model's body, such as the shoulder slope, armhole, bust, waist, and hip. This sloper will become the master template for all future styles developed for this model. Sloper patterns are generated in Tuka APM for automatic pattern making. Though pattern making is a craft historically passed down by artisans, today's computers can learn the logic of pattern making, so a person of any skill level can create beautiful 2D patterns. The model's measurements are entered into the sloper specification sheet, including seam allowance and grade rules. Tuka APM generates a graded sloper pattern, which is ready to drape in Tuka 3D. The sloper pattern is added to Tuka 3D from the Tuka design system. The pattern pieces are arranged around the 3D fit model, and the seam stitching is defined. As the garment is draped, the 3D sloper fits the model like a glove. Next, she simulates actions performed during a live sample fitting. Real-time motion simulation is added directly in Tuka 3D without the need for another 3D software. The sloper is analyzed in motion with tension mapping views in stretch and pressure mode and can be isolated to the warp and weft directions. X-ray mode applies transparency to the fabric surface to check the balance and ease of the garment. Any styles built from the sloper will fit correctly the first time. After the shapes of the fit model's body are captured in a 2D sloper pattern, the pattern maker only needs to change the ease or style lines rather than start with a new pattern or ill-fitting reference block. The pattern maker draws the style lines directly onto the sloper template and shortens or lengthens the piece to suit the new silhouette. After all adjustments are finished, the 3D operator simply updates the draped 3D sloper to apply the pattern changes for the new style. All changes made to existing pattern pieces are applied without resetting the entire 3D draping process. Only the new pattern pieces need to be arranged and stitched. Because the pattern maker used the 2D sloper pattern as a template, they do not need to spend as much time verifying the fit for the new style. Colorways can be applied by the 3D sample maker in Tuka 3D or by a graphic designer in the Print Visualizer module of Tuka 3D Designer Edition. The simulated garment brought into the Print Visualizer is a blank 3D canvas for prints, logos, or textures. Prints added from the material editor can be scaled on the 3D garment. Designers have a built-in Pantone color library for solids. Designers can take advantage of the Print Visualizer graphic integration if they prefer to create colorways in their favorite graphic design software. They simply create artwork on the flat pattern layout and apply the finished design to the 3D garment surface. The designer analyzes all colorways as a 3D storyboard. They can render the storyboard or individual 3D garments for presentations and sharing. 3D garments are shared to internal or external teams on Tuka Cloud, the web-based digital sample room that connects every person involved with virtual product development to one platform. The process is repeated for every style developed for a brand to maintain a consistent fit regardless of product category.
But the starting of that process is, who am I designing for? Who is my customer? Who is the person who's going to wear this? The model we call the fit model. So now we in Tukatech have the inventory of about 700 fit models replicated from different brands and retailers around the world. So how do we do it? Rather than taking the measurements the way everybody else does,
you have a wrong video. Wrong
the person's body, shape, the posture, all of the above in exact replication. So once we've taken that from the body scan and brought that in, we add the real-time motion. The objective here is to have zero tolerance between what we see versus what we get, so that we can eliminate the physical cutting, sewing, and fitting process. The second aspect is the fabric. Now, the fabric itself has a different behavior. We need to make sure that each fabric showing their drape as it collides with the body as a real fabric will be. So the properties of the fabric are converted in a digital format where we can even give a digital feel-like factor. We have the behavior of the fabric, how it drapes, so that when I make a digital pattern, in order to take it to the digital sample, I have to take that digital pattern and convert that into digital cloth, so that I can now see the behavior of that fabric and evaluate and finalize the look of the garment. One thing I want to mention here is where I think most of the brands and retailers have failed. They all develop a product into one size they call the sample size, and then they apply the grading. And if I took the same grading information and showed it on the bodies are going to look like this. The human bodies don't grow in this proportion. So we know that there are certain sizes and certain shapes that sell extremely well. The question now is, why do I have to have only one person body scan? What if I went out and said, all right, my body 1 is this shape, my body 2 is this shape and measurements, and 3 and 4 and 5, and I now bring it into my automatic pattern making system where I look at the measurements from the body scan and let the system develop an absolutely amazing what we call the sloper pattern, which is capturing the slopes of this body onto flat patterns, sewn it together. So once I have for every one of those people, I can nest these things together called the relationship between each size to the next size. And at every point of measure, that relationship is different. The value is different. Once that is there, I can now take that grade rule and apply that to the new styles, and all those bodies will fit perfectly same. The technology is not new. We've been doing it for many, many decades now. These samples that you see are the actual 3D garments being produced in Asia, in Central America, in South America, where I don't have to look at the embroideries, and the actual product can be visualized, approved without having to make a sample. This is where the technology plays a role for reducing time, B, reducing cost, and C, the decision-making tool. I can even take that digital process and put it onto my website, sell it, digitally develop, digitally sell it. Now, question comes in, how do you integrate the whole thing? Everybody's been talking about for decades PLM. What does it stand for? Product Lifecycle Management. We decided at Tukatech to redefine, we call that process lifecycle management. The product development is the biggest process. It is the oxygen room of the industry. If we engineer the product, if we develop it right, once that data becomes available to every player in the process development, it becomes even simpler and simpler and simpler as we increase the number of assets. I want to explain that. What we call the Tuka Cloud, or our PLM system. This is a patented process.
Approving garments is the longest process in the product development cycle, but with Tuka Cloud, approvals can be made faster and more efficiently. Virtual product development has helped brands, retailers, and vendors to reduce the amount of time and resources needed to create prototypes of their latest designs. But now that product development is happening virtually, the fashion industry is faced with new challenges: organizing, managing, and sharing digital data and communication. Tuka Cloud empowers those who create fashion virtually to connect digitally and collaborate globally. This online digital sample room is more than a software application. It's a product development solution specially designed for managing virtual samples developed in Tuka 3D. In Tuka Cloud, you belong to a team. Collaborating within and between teams is easily controlled and managed so that you only see what's important to you. Not only does this keep intellectual property secure, but it also ensures that you aren't bombarded with useless CCs and BCCs on long email chains. Data and information for every style is kept in sample folders. These folders are sorted into searchable pages and categories, so you can always find what you are looking for. Version control is built into Tuka Cloud, so if your design went from A to C and you want to go back to B, you can pick up right where you left off. View technical files or download 3D assets to edit colorways in the Tuka 3D Designer Edition Visualizer. You can also view motion videos in color, tension, and X-ray mode to analyze fit and aesthetics. A 3D viewer enables you to rotate, zoom, and pan a 3D style without downloading any software. Comments for the style are contained in the same folder to keep conversations connected to the sample. Notifications are sent automatically, so if something goes wrong or right, you'll know instantly. Track team progress with the Analytics dashboard, and analyze the progress of individual styles to estimate how much time is spent on the 3D product development process. Make better decisions based on the pulse of where your virtual samples stand. Approved styles become verified digital assets, which can be used as templates for future designs. When the whole team works from the same data, garment design and fit expectations are much clearer. This reduces the need for long tech packs and confusing emails. Tuka Cloud facilitates collaboration between creatives and creators by visually connecting the product development process under one digital roof.
When you are clear with your objectives and when you have end-to-end understanding, then you will get results that can be measured. Thank you so much, and I wish everybody a wonderful day.
So that was one of the wonderful presentation, Mr. Ram, and the way you've compiled it, you've already put in your voice over to it. It completely resonates to how a tech founder from the top has to explain the complete model framework and how it can be made more useful for the people. So I've got some questions coming in on the screen board, but I would like to start off with Linda. Linda, what is your thought about the entire technology?
Oh, I am absolutely into it. And I think that this is one of the blessings that actually these challenging times has given us. We finally got time to review how we are working and what must be done in a different way. How can we simplify the processes? So we have already, we don't have 3D design yet at Continuum. It's something that we are looking into and it will happen. It's a must the way I see it. But we already have a couple of suppliers, factories that are having 3D design, and it's giving us an immense edge in terms of competition because we can react much faster towards our customers and service them with the images. So I am all for this new modern technology, and I find it very exciting. And to be able to, because in India, sometimes we kind of apologize and say that, okay, this is India, India has limitations and everything. But I'm very, very curious to see how we can actually raise the level completely by embracing the new technology. And I think today that we do have a supply chain that is somewhat getting there in terms of minds and understanding that this is the need of the hour to actually take some drastic step forward. So I find it amazing. It's simple.
Do you think the buyers are going to be ready for this, and they're already ready for this particular technology, and they're ready to accept the designing and the exchange of, the samples getting on the 3D? Are they accepting it? Would you think this is going to happen soon?
Yes and no. I think it is a mindset. It depends on which company you're talking about. There are companies that are very much willing to accept it and look into it already now. Then you have other companies that for various reasons are not. But the way I see it on the Indian side is how can we work smarter between, for instance, buying agencies and manufacturers. And there is a lot that can be done there to actually smoothen the process so that we as a consolidated team with the manufacturers come across as far more accurate and professional towards the buying side. And I think this is where we really need to start looking at it. It carries so much of opportunities. And by getting used to the new system, we will then be in a position to also present it to customers. We have some actually very good feedback when we are running the thoughts with the buyers, and they are telling us that they are looking into it, but they are not there yet, some of them. But I think we are moving in the right direction, and we create awareness and we get there. We have to.
Yeah, so Madhu, what's your thought before we go on to Mr. Ram?
Yeah, I'm very amazed with this video. The way he's presented it is amazing. It is quite clear, and I do feel that it is going to be extremely, extremely helpful in the senses you can see the actual motions, because in the garments, your movements also decide the fit and everything of a garment. So it is going, even if some of the buyers who have a bit of reservations on them, they would still be open for it in the prelim stages. So before a final sample is sent to them, if we could do this job, which would otherwise have taken about sometimes even 1 month, because you would be sewing it, cutting it, making it, and then couriering it, and then getting the feedback on it. So it would be all done on virtually in a fraction of the time that would have normally been taken. And a normal sample in the conventional way, which would have gone, say, in a 20 days, 15 to 20 days, can now leave in 3-4 days, which is what is the basic benefit of this. And also, it also helps you in developing. I'm not so much from the garment, but still, I see it as extremely interesting and useful for the garment industry, because you are getting the flat patterns also. You're not wasting your time with your designers, make this pattern, this is going wrong here, this is there, the seam is wrong, that is wrong. So that all this software is taking care of. This technology, I feel, is very, very useful for the garment industry. But the point is, we got to use it in a very diligent way, get trained about it. And I have a few questions on it from Ram, which I can ask a bit later after Ram's comments.
Same here, yeah.
So
I
I want to start a question to you, Mr. Ram. You have been one of the pioneers in this field, and you have taken, it's been decades of work that we can see in this particular technology. And I know that you have already been there in almost practically every single, textile region of the world. But when it comes to India, and I've been very candid with the fact that we, being Indians ourselves, we refrain ourselves for adopting the technology. And I, running a tech platform from from the top, and I feel a lot of resistance coming from people when it comes to talking about technology. They feel that this is something which they have to, they want to do it, but they want to take them time. So what has been your experience while you, while putting all this thing together? What has been the adoption model as per you?
Okay. See, first thing is necessity. Once you understand the necessity, the invention comes in automatically. Okay. We're in California, and it's known to be the design center of the world. Now, if we ever work the same way as the garment industry works everywhere else, California would be away from all these garment industries. We will never have a place. I'm going to give you 2 examples. Most of the California companies, and there's about 4,000 of them, they produce between 300 to 1,000 new styles per month. Per month. We don't have tech packs and fit sessions and the nonsense. We need to come up with the new styles on a monthly basis. We go to market week, show it to buyers. We come back with 30, 40, 50, 60% of them with small orders of 360 and 480. And that's where we set the trends. This is the reason why, whether it's Uniqlo with having a design center in California, or it is Diesel Jeans who has the design centers. And I can tell you brand after brand out of Italy and so on, where they have design centers, because they understand California is the place. So there's things to learn. We don't start from scratch. We work from blocks. There are 19 universities in California who teach with technology, with 2D and 3D, all from Tukatech, by the way. 85% of the garment industry in California uses Tukatech. There's a reason for that, because we didn't have enough pattern makers. 20 years ago, we were going to shut down our business because we couldn't have more patent makers. The same small number of patent makers were getting bids. Come to work for me and I give you another $50,000 a year. That's how bad it was. By having this technology brought in through schools, fashion schools, into the industry, where we facilitated the industry with affordable technology, but measurable results. We need to understand what technology is just a toy and what technology is the one which is going to give us the benefits. You know, India, 1996, I was the first one to bring digital patent making in that country. I still remember the senior in charge of Shahi exports telling me and I'm going to repeat that in Hindi, वो master ही क्या जिसके हाथ में कैंची नहीं. What kind of patent maker are you talking about who doesn't have scissors? I said, you know what? We need a mouse in front of the patent maker. And I was the one to bring that 55-year-old patent maker sitting down in dhoti and making patents on Windows 95. I still have those pictures where Orient Craft and Shahi and all these Richa and all these companies. Why? Because technology was available. No technology company wanted to commit to train the people, to bring them up to the mark where the performance can come in. Why is it that 500 colleges today teach with Tukatech technology? Why? Because it's understandable, it's easier, and that's where you start. Nobody's asking you to go buy a $250,000 cutter or $50,000 spreader. But the technology people who are selling it, they want you to. This is where I think the vendors did not do justice to the implementation of technology or suggestion of the right technology to the right people with the problems. You make them crawl to walk to run. I wanted to show you that video where I think fundamentally the beginning of your garment industry in India, in Asia, is wrong. They don't know how to handle the fabrics. They don't know how to spread the fabrics. And the buyers and the quality controllers of the buyers are not guiding them in the right direction. The technical know-how, the best practices are missing. They need to practice better ways, and they need to find innovative ways without having to get technology, because this is not just a button to press. This is which button to press. Somebody has to show them. We need to have technical people come in and help. We somehow or the other, we get used to, oh, because they are doing it and they are doing it, it must be right. Till, you know, I'm going to share this thing, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, that little area, everybody respects Sri Lankans a lot. Am I right or wrong? Yes?
Yes.
Because their technical know-how and so on. Well, they got education from Americans when they did the joint partnerships and so on, when the Americans came in and taught them, and Sri Lankans are good learners. Sadly, that was 30, 40 years ago. So even what they know today is what was being done 30 years ago in America, when we were paying $2.50 an hour. Today I'm paying $22 an hour. I don't have the luxury of having more people. I have to find the ways. When you talk about, Linda, you were very good about being transparent in the cost. Yes, if some idiot says, oh, sir, I'm doing this and I'm barely making my cost, please, please, please. Bullshit, don't lie. You're in the business of making money, and every buyer will allow you to make money, reasonable money. Just because you're stupid, Just because you don't use the right practices doesn't mean that I'm going to compensate for your stupidities. That is why we call standardization time values. What are the GSDs doing? What are the values that it should be? What should be the consumption? What should be the time value to sew it? In America, we use contractors for everything. So if I have a 10-minute garment and I'm paying 10 cents a minute, that's $1. But if I pay $1 and that company is paying $1 to the sewing machine operator, they are not going to survive. So the rule is I pay 2.5 times the cost per minute, whatever the minute value is. And the law says we must do that, the labor laws. Sometimes we want to find out if we are paying the right wages to the contractors. So the contractors are not taking advantage of the sewing machine operators. Sir, being transparent is absolutely important. Today, the buyer knows a lot more what the cost should be. Today, the buyer has technologies with smart mark and automatic marker making systems, and they can tell you, listen, the consumption should be this much. Fabric is this much per yard. Why are you asking? There has to be technology to help you reduce the time and cost. If that's not doing it, you're in the wrong place. Talk about adopting technology at 3D or certain other levels. There are a lot of people at the brand level who were hesitant. And who were those? Those who were trying to protect their own jobs. Not only did they lose their jobs, they let their employers lose their businesses. So it is the fault of the senior management not understanding. Now, I have one small story to tell you. There's a company doing $500 million worth of dresses. The owner of that company realized 15 years ago that 3D is the only way to go for the dresses. But his vice president for design would not take it. She refused. She wanted to touch and feel. The owner to owner, the company in Sri Lanka who was making it, they agreed, they implemented. The bottom line came out that the same person who wanted touch and feel within 2 months saw whatever she was seeing when the real sample came in, it was exactly the same. Sometimes it takes right from the top management, the commitment. Technology transformation is not a one-person job. It is a buy-in for everybody, whether it is the operators or the management or the design community or the buyers. It's not a one-person job. Everybody has to be committed to make it happen. It's not going to happen by one person.
Linda, you want to add something here?
If I would like
sorry?
Yeah, do you want to add something to what Mr. Ram has just said?
No, I think it's, Ram, you're really spot on. I think the whole perception around 3D technology needs to change. And I think whenever we have discussed with our supply chain, whether that is something that they are considering to invest in, one question that very often comes up to me, or a statement, more of a question I would even say, is that it's very difficult to find the right operator understanding how to operate the system, in India specifically. And my question to you here would be, what should one be looking for? Should you look for a younger, really tech-savvy, modern pattern maker, or should you aim for looking at someone that has a lot of experience in terms of flat pattern making, like a traditional way, and try to train him and think that he will then eventually understand how to operate the system? So what is your take on that from a totally practical angle?
very good question, because there is a transformation going on from the old school, really skilled people to the young people that I call the Google generation, who's looking for that magical button to press. But if you combine the two together, for developing the fit, you may need that experienced person who knows how to take this two-dimensional flat pattern and fit around the three-dimensional body. So those things are called blocks. Those things are called slopers, taking the slopes of the fit model or the fit person and then making that, capturing that shape into the flat patterns. But once that shape is captured, it really is like a cookie cutter. I can just put in the values. That's what technology plays a role. I have a couple of questions that I want to really address here also. Somebody, Premjit Singh, to all panelists, there are a lot of systems available in 3D. Yes, there are. 3D is not new. 3D has been used in automotive industry for ages. We put that in there because the most expensive, and the same parallel goes in the sample making and development, was car crash testing. Now, can you imagine doing this 3D car crash testing simulation and then really crashing the car to see if my data is correct? Would that be the technology? Do you think that will stay in the automotive business? No. Yet, every 3D technology available today has been designed where somebody has to validate that product after making in 3D to do a physical product. That is not a technology, because most of the technology companies are writing code by creating a patchwork. Starting from, that's why that video was shown, so people understand. You have to have the fit model. If the person who's gonna wear it and that person's replica in the computer is not exactly the same, doesn't make a difference. The simple little thing, Linda, is first point of collision in dresses or blouses or shirts or tops is the shoulder slope. Your shoulder slope is different than Madhu's and so on and so on. And if I don't capture that slope, that shape, the three-dimensional, how will I see the drape of that garment on your body is going to be different when I put it onto the dummy. Alvanon put the dummies trying to capture the shape, but the shape was never the same. So the industry gained zero. And now the same Alvanon dummies are being used by every 3D technology company because they don't know how to capture or bring the scan data or have the real-time motion simulation. If you ask in the fitting room your fit model to raise hands to see if the garment is fitting right, and I don't have the capability of doing it, I have to make a garment and then do it, or have the technology where I can do it the same thing what I do it in the fitting room. That is the reason why I showed you the video. Whether you have my technology or a technology, I challenge all the technology companies to put the real-time motion simulation. That is the way to get started. Three things. Model has to be zero tolerance, zero difference between the real body versus the real fit model's replica in the system. Real fabric properties has to be exactly the same so I can see the behavior. I have shown it. If I put the grain line in bias, what happens to the dress? If I show it, put it in the warp or the weft, what happens? If I'm not able to see all that in the real time, then that's not a technology. That is just a waste of time or a patchwork. This is exactly what the point is.
Mr. Ram, tell me one thing. I totally understand simulation and the fitness of the designs to a model body is very important. But being there in such a diverse geographies in different countries, the body shapes and the sizes and everything is all different. How do we ensure that the shape which is selling in US and the shape which is selling in India, or maybe the shape which is selling in Africa, how do we ensure that we are able to fix it with the right bodies? How do we get those kind of shapes to fit out on that particular area?
So come down from a very high 35,000 foot view, America or Africa or Europe, even in cities like Los Angeles, okay? Even a price point brands, two brands have two different fit models because every human being is different shape. But then there are certain people within the same classification. I am not looking to capture for hundreds and thousands of people my garments. It's not gonna work unless I'm Walmart or I'm Target or I'm Kohl's, that I really don't care. But when I am into the specialty stores, only certain shaped people go there. That's the reason why Ralph Lauren has their own fit model and PVH has their own fit model and so on, because they're capturing certain segment of consumer who is within that same category. This is the reason why, and if you go to my website, you can find we have over 750 captured fit models bodies, whether it is Asia or Africa or North America or Europe, and within Europe, whether it's Italy or France or Spain or UK, because the bodies are different. But within those bodies, age groups are different. There are younger generation, or there are people who are fit, people who are large sizes. There are so many categories. You just have to first decide which category do you want to work with. Now let me explain, and this may sound like I'm trying to sell you something. I'm not. But I hate it when somebody says, oh, they are a great salespeople. We're not salespeople. We're a technology provider. We give technical solutions, and I don't care if we make $1 or not. It's gratifying to me to see my customer, my friend, really got to the next level with my help or my people's help. At my age, do you think that makes a difference with another $1 million or not? No. The only big difference is, did I, while I'm still breathing in and out, was able to help somebody? And that's my motivation. That's my motivation. So get this nonsense out of you, this thing. And Mr. Premjit, for you too, sir, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I used to sell my time, and I started giving that free away. And I know free has no value. But if you really want to get the value, then get out of this doubt that I may be trying to sell you something. Think what I'm telling you. If you don't have the assistance, if you don't make a change, if you don't invest, when will you go out of business? That's the ROI you should do. Because the cost of material will continue to go up, cost of labor will continue to go up, and the selling prices will continue to go down. So when do you say, I close my business because there is no margin left? You cannot continue to give higher wages. Agreed or disagree?
Yes, I do
must
agree
make a
with what you're
change.
saying.
Yeah.
Yes, I
But
totally
then you
agree
must
with what
make
you're
a
saying.
change.
Yes.
What you did yesterday was yesterday's solutions. Today's problem requires you to think differently. And what you did yesterday, please don't say that we've always done it like that, because it is a new day. It's a new way. Therefore, it has to have a new work method.
Yeah.
Just because we did it doesn't mean that that was right. Okay, that was right then.
Mr. Gopinath Ravi has a very interesting question. Can this be used on wearing a saris also, or you just designed it for the Western dresses?
Absolutely. Why? A sari What is in the sari? What is in a lehenga? What is in a choli? It is the same silhouette.
Yeah.
The fabric changes, transparency of that, the prints, the embroideries, the colorways, all that is look. You can go to my website, you can download a sari, and then go to your Photoshop illustration or whatever, and then visualize how the sari is going to look. There are several sari companies in India who use my 3D. There are so many brands who are doing ethnic clothing, and they've been using my, you know, the largest brand in Pakistan is a company called Khadi, Khaadi. Khadi do not make samples. They go from 2D to 3D digital to visualization to approval within the company and go to production. That is digital transformation. 82 designers working all jointly on the technology. Go to my website and you can buy the 3D silhouette for $5. And if that really sells, then, and you want to make it production, you can buy the patent for that for $5. So I'm simplifying. Yes,
so
Madhu, go
Mr.
ahead.
Gopinath has a following question. He's saying India has about 100 more dripping styles. Would these would this all styles be stimulated? Because every state has a different dripping styles.
No, there are, if you go to my, if you go to Tuka Web or Tukatech subscriptions and look at the silhouettes, you can go through two things. One, what kind of silhouettes, whether it's kurta pajamas or the lehengas or the salwar kameez, there are all kinds. See, things don't change when it comes to silhouette. Only the colorway, the print, or fabric, the look changes. So why can't I just create from a $5 silhouette, make 500 different styles out of that? And then if I like to produce whatever somebody liked, I can just go out and get the pattern for that for $5 also and cut and sew it. This is where technology plays the role. I simplified by creating the templates of those 100 plus styles, and then allowed the young people to create the digital artwork or embroideries to see how the garment is going to look like. Rather than making the whole garment and then showing to somebody, I can create a line within a day, create a board and show it digitally. Do you like it? The first thing is I'm just showing the concept. If you like the concept of having the embroidery all over, only a half, 3/4, because everything is cost related. I'm tying in right now with another missing link in the digital world is the fabric people. So if I'm designing, I should be able to get a digital fabric and visualize that to see how that would look in a real garment. And not only that, maybe I can put that on the internet and sell it. And if I sell it, then go to get that fabric and cut it and sew it and ship it in 3 to 5 days. You think that's a dream? No. I have more than 200 companies doing it today. We call that demand manufacturing. It's the thinking process is different. You don't design and make and warehouse and then try to sell and then hope to God that everything sells. You design digitally, you show digitally, you sell digitally, and whatever you've sold, you make that. And you don't have to be a one garment manufacturer. I have a customer in Pakistan who's doing 40,000 garments a day, all on demand manufacturing. That's technology. It's a mindset. You have to start thinking differently.
two people who have raised their hands. Allow me to take the quick questions from them, and then we will. There is a very interesting thing that I want to come back to you, Mr. Ram. You just talk about fabrics, so I want to come back to you on the fabrics part also. Mr. Ramesh Nair, you have raised your hand. I'm going to be taking you on mute, so you can. So you are allowed to talk. Just unmute yourself, and you can talk now. Ramesh.
2 points. One is about the apprehension on the adoption of technology. That, to a large extent, Mr. Saren has clarified. What about the transition time? How much time does it take for a regular factory to transition from the conventional pattern making method to the entire 3D system? How much time does it take?
1, 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. You really can go from whatever you're doing, however you're doing it, and then get to the whichever step is going to give you the maximum benefit in the shortest possible time. That would be the implementation sequence. So because the product is also developed, sampling pattern is made, a sample is cut, a sample is shown. So there's a pipeline. But then the end is where you are actually cutting and sewing the production that you developed maybe 6 months or 4 months or 3 months ago. If you're putting the technology in, you may want to start from two ends. One is at the end where you are actually cutting and sewing, can that technology help you to save fabric? So get that automated as quickly as possible and start getting the benefits from day one. In the meantime, for your future development as it's going in, you can start putting the patterns, but start thinking in a logical way rather than having in 3 different directions: pattern making, grading, and marker making. These are the 3 things which really is the backbone of this industry. Now think logically. Grading is pure science. I don't need people doing it. Grading is on the contours of the patterns, the values that go up and down. Those values remain exactly the same for each brand. Fit is developed by the designers, but the body shape of their fit model remains the same. So size and fit are 2 different things. In order to get the size right, you've got the basic block, and then you've got the master grading on it. Marker making is pure science. It is just the interlocking of pattern pieces to get the best utilization. The art is in the pattern making. If you have the right pattern block, which is captured the shape, computerization allows you to modify that t-shirt, that blouse, that shirt, that pant in a minimum way to create new style lines rather than recreating the whole thing. Example, in tops, my shoulders, my armhole, my neckline, and up to my underbust is where my fit parameters are. Rest, everything is style lines. In bottoms, from my waist to the crotch, that entire area is my fit parameter. If I got that one right, as far as the shapes are concerned, I can create anything. That's where computerization plays a role. So now you've got your pattern block, you got the master grading on that block. Whatever you do on the computers to create a new style, when you're finished, it's already graded. If it's already graded and you have the technology, I can push in the button with ratio, with the width, and have the system tell me what my yield is going to be for average to do whatever ratio that I cut it in. You had asked a question about these very qualified people who can do what I call the master patterns. I'm happy to tell you that 12 years of my thinking of how to take those skilled people's thinking process and automate that in computers, I had been able to do that. we created an automatic pattern making where all you do is choose a category, put in the measurements, press the button, and the system gives you a graded pattern. I took the CEO of a Fortune 500 company and had him do that, and he made a perfectly fitting jeans. That is technology. So I really don't need to hire a lot more pattern makers. I can create from automatic pattern making, and you don't even have to buy. You can go and subscribe on my website, okay? I'm trying to simplify rather than milk the customers for a longer time, okay?
Thank you.
Now you
Thank
can go ahead.
Saren. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ramesh Nair. I hope that information was helpful. I'm going to go back to Linda and Madhu. Linda, first a question to you. Knowing that this kind of technologies are coming in, first of all, what do you see can be the cost factor that can be reduced? And what kind of benefits you think a manufacturer or can get while using these technologies?
First of all, I think, like Ram has also mentioned before, directly on the factory side, wastage. I believe that this is one of the biggest challenges. It's eating up money for the factories. And I also see very often that there is no control ever so often on the wastage aspects. And I believe this is also going to take us back to what is really important for most of the brands today, and that is sustainability. And in sustainability, if we look at a more holistic view than just sustainable fabrics, we have wastage being quite important. We don't want to see that our product is causing more wastage than necessary. So I believe that we are addressing the actual cost. And I also believe that we are addressing one very fundamental and, to me, relatively easy aspect of sustainability, which is, of course, to cut down on the wastage. And the second is that I believe 3D technology will make everything leaner. And I believe that it will reduce the amount of misunderstandings that is ever so often costing us the orders. Meaning that, for instance, the sample is going out to the customer and it's not the way it was supposed to be because of too many people handling the product, not actually understanding the technical aspects of it. And it's kind of excused that, you know, in India, we are maybe not the sharpest on the pattern construction the way I see it. So I believe that we will be far leaner, and with that, we will be able to service the customers better. We will shorten their amount of effort and time that they need to spend on the products coming in. And with that, of course, if we make their life easy and if we solve their problems, the business will come to us, the credibility level will go up, and I believe that we come across as far more competitive at a global scale, international scale. So this is what I believe it can do for us.
Perfect. Madhu, what is your thought in terms of quality? What do you think, because you've been on the quality and the sourcing side and you've been the expert on that domain, what do you think is going to be the impact of using something like this?
See, on sourcing side, what Linda said is what I validated. It's the same thing that will, the same benefits people will have using the technology. On quality side, I think once it's been seen, it's been fit tested, it's seen everything. So the quality, one aspect of the quality would be taken care of. The seams would be at the right places. Everything would be on the right places. So some part of the quality would definitely be attended to. But you cannot say that 100% of quality issues can be attended by the 3D technology. From what my understanding is, maybe it's not complete, but on the sourcing aspect and the sampling aspect, I definitely would like to go in for a 3D technology. That is, I've been always professing it since some years, and that's why I'm a more strong believer in this technology, because it saves on time and wastage and everything else.
So
I do have some questions for Mr. Ram, if he can answer them.
So
okay.
I'm gonna take back the question, Madhu. I'm sorry to take you. We are almost towards the end of the session. I'm going to quickly share one technology. I'm sure this is going to be also something which everybody has to look forward to. We've just created a quick 30 seconds video, and I'm sharing this video with everyone. So what we're showing here is a different form of technology, but this technology helps companies to take the pricing on their sourcing. This is the digital sourcing tool that Sowtex has. So what it helps you is connect with not only your existing vendors, but with the new vendors together in one single go. So you put up a message on the Sowtex app with all the specification. It goes viral to both your existing vendors as well as the new vendors, and both of them are responding to it on one single screen. You get to see the prices from different people coming together. And this is typically happens in a span of 24 to 48 hours, sometimes take to 72 hours. So basically it helps companies to discover and get the responses faster. Because when you put out a question as to what is the price of the fabric, what is the price of the trim, and we're trying to collate everything together and give a costing to the buyer, this is something which helps to get the responses faster. And on a single dashboard, you can compare the prices from various people, existing vendors, new vendors coming together, and that's how it takes things more easy and faster. And that's the kind of technologies that we all are gearing up for. Mr. Ram has got some amazing thoughts, and I wish there is some way that companies can integrate his tool, maybe an API, to their websites and see if when a buyer is coming in, he can pick up the fabric, do a simulation on a garment or maybe a bag or a home fashion accessory, see that how it's going to look, and so the business starts moving more faster, and that's what we are kind of aiming to look forward to this particular area. We just have 2-3 more questions. I'll quickly take those questions. Palak Rajput has a question to you, Mr. Ram. Any software service solution for a merchandising department that you want to share with them?
First of all, congratulations. You're on the right track. That's where the Americans, German, Japanese, Taiwanese, fabric mills, because this is where the big gap was. We were able to create the styles, the silhouettes, but the fabric people were not organized. They were creating new products and having the swatches go to the design houses. Design houses will look at that. That cycle time was too long. For the availability, and in a fast world, I needed to have one platform. So we just tied in with one platform, and I've been happy to work with you all at the same time. But in order to do that, 2 things are important. One, that the fabric that you were showing has to be in 3-dimensional. That means the scanning of that the image of that has to be so realistic that I can actually bring it into the 3D and then visualize how the garment is going to look like. And then do my costing by knowing what the availability is and can I order it right now. So rather than having to wait, I want to design, I want to develop, I want to visualize, I want to get the approval, and I want to place the order all under one platform. The fabric people and the trim people were the missing ones. So now we're putting the fabric people, the trim people, but also people who are selling prints. There are print people who also create libraries, and now they're uploading their prints availabilities. So I can buy the basic gray goods from somebody, have the converted fabric, have the print in there to visualize how that would look on my swimwear or on my blouses, on my shirts and whatever. Take my yarn dyes, see how that thing would look, and then place the order. But all within hours rather than months. All within what I needed. With digital printing happening, with digital development happening, it is an obvious step that we must take to complete the digital cycle. So rather than having any standalone technologies, standalone what I call the patchworks or band-aids, unless it goes back and communicates with the fabric people, with the print people, with the retailers. Where I see the industry going, I will develop everything digitally, show it to my buyer. If they buy it, then and only then I will bring it in, and I will have zero waste. I don't know if that's going to happen in my lifetime, but if you really want to save the planet, start thinking from that perspective. It is all here. Sono, all of you, is all here. In garment industry, when you say seconds, whether it is top brands, I can find a outlet or a store where they sell seconds. It is acceptable to have 2% or 3% seconds. It's only because we accepted it. In automobiles, you don't have a seconds Mercedes or a seconds Maruti. Why? Because we have zero defects expectations. Our expectation is what is going to give us whatever we asked for. So if we're going to aspire, we're going to aspire with zero waste. Then come back with 2% or 3% and then fine tune it to bring it down to zero waste. Can you imagine throwing away 40 billion garments in landfills? Can you imagine throwing 85 to 90% of samples in the landfills because you just made the whole thing and then nobody even liked it, so you throw it away? Or you made the whole thing that didn't fit anybody, it can't be used. Or you made everything and you don't want to dilute your image because you are a damn brand, and you cut and throw it away. Do you know how much the big brands, the so-called high-end brands, are polluters because they don't want to discount their products? They'd rather destroy and throw it away. The biggest shame is when we don't think the environment and the planet. What are we leaving for our children and grandchildren? This nonsense. The worst polluter on this planet is the garment industry. Denim happens to be one of them. Fix it. Go digital.
I think the next thing should be fixing up the technology on the garmenting side in terms of making more sustainable, and that's the technology that we wish be looking out coming from Tukatech very soon, right? I'm going to have another question from Mr. Gopinath Ravi, and he's just talking about the same point that, on the flip side of technology, he wants to understand with all the things moving digital technologies and the employees, computers, then what are the humans going to do? We have to sit on a sofa and play digital games. What kind of jobs are left for humans? Do you want to answer that, or
we are going back to, oh my God, poor me, poor me. I'm going to protect my job. Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Protecting my job?
We should be looking for something new, much better.
No, there'll be no progress in life, none whatsoever. We've got to continue to develop other skills, other ways to add value. There's so much to do to add value. What's wrong with that? Why do we want to live for yesterday only? And that's why I said, whatever we did yesterday, we must change. We've got to do today something different.
Sure.
It's the end of the session. We have already exceeded by 15 minutes. I'm going to take one more time, an excuse to put out one more slide. We're just going to talk about the upcoming event of Vastra 2020. So this is an event which has been organized by Rico and Fiki, and Sowtex is one of the co-collaborator and is supporting association in this. It's all on the garment industry, wherein about 80 garment manufacturers from across Rajasthan and Delhi NCR are participating in this event and to showcase their garment strength to a new set of buyers and buying agencies from across world. This time the event has been supported by Africa and Australian buying agencies besides Europe, US and Japan. So this is going to be a highlight event, and with Vicky and Rico promoting it, this is something which is worth having a look at. Guys, please make it a point to come and visit this particular event. This starts on 23rd of September to 27th of September. A quick showcase of what Sowtex has been doing. Sowtex helps companies to discover each other. On one side, we help the complete supply chain discover the set of inquiries which are there in the textile ecosystem, right from the garments to home furnishing down to supply chain from fabric, trims, accessories. On the side, we also showcase the complete stocks which are available in the ecosystem. All the users, they can upload their stocks and the fellow users can buy them. So these are like a quick discovery models that we have created on the app. A quick look of our business model, where we're just talking about the memberships, which is a 3-tier memberships. It is available on our website. And that's the numbers you can reach out to us should you have any questions. So that's from us as from Sowtex. And I hope I've taken all the questions which are there. Linda and Madhu, do you have any other questions that you would like to share, or anything that you want to talk about as part of the closing conversation in today's session?
Yeah, we would like to thank Ram Saren for giving his inputs and the guidance on how to save money in different steps of garment manufacturing, etc., and his and the plus points of his Tukatech. I just have one small question for him. Is this technology at the moment, from what I see, it is more for garment industry? Are you planning to also include other product lines into it? Because I could say like footwear, because that's been my predominant category. If that could be also incorporated, plus some other accessories or whatever, because for footwear, if this could be a really, really helpful tool.
Well, for footwear, there's a lot of technology available, and it's easier to do footwear than to do apparel, because it's a solid subject. It doesn't move. It doesn't behave back. It's easier to do the footwear. The most difficult one is making the bras, because it has the effect of the body itself, the reaction. There are a lot of technologies available. Footwear, even we can do that, but it's easier for footwear people to use. And I don't want to mention the names, but I'll be more than happy to help you out.
Yeah, but you know, in footwear also,
we don't.
You need the movement, which is what it is. You do need the move. When you wear a shoe, the buyer just wants to walk into it and see how it fits, etc. But then maybe yours is more specialized into other product lines. Maybe it's more for garments, right?
Yeah,
I want to ask you to ask another question. You are also into COVID buying, and you have been off lately buying a lot of PPE suits. Why not ask Ram to tell you, in case if there can be, with COVID situation, and we have been there from last couple of months, and I don't know how long it's going to go. What kind of solutions are you offering for the PPE manufacturers? Oh, yeah. Because that's what the dominant area of Madhu is now.
Well, we put it in first week of March, a task force within our own company, and we offered to anyone, whether it is technology user, our technology, anybody else's technology user, doesn't make a difference. We offered 3D, 2D patterns, markers for various PPE products. More than 350 companies have been getting those help from us. And it's all free. It's done pro bono, just to help you out, because we believe that a denim manufacturer or a garment manufacturer may not have an understanding how to produce, how to develop the PPE products. Okay, that's the.
And
So
one last question.
you can just write to relief. You can write to relief@tukatech.com, relief@tukatech.com, and they will be able to send you the patterns or any help that you need. Okay, it's at no charge.
One last question is, can you, I know you've explained a lot about the cost and all, because most of the manufacturers are quite wary that if we incorporate 3D technology into our system, even though we'll save on some of the staff and also on the couriers and time, will it actually be financially beneficial for them?
Madhu, I'm sorry. It's very difficult for me to answer that question. It's not something that I want to give you Tukatech's perspective, okay?
No, general.
I'm more than happy. Just write it to me, ram@tukatech.com, and I'll be more than happy to give you, okay?
Thank you.
So Linda, do you have any questions for Ram?
Yeah, I did have one last question, which is kind of, I don't know if Ram is hearing us. I hope he is. So I have one question, and that is with regards to how do you implement this? And how do you bridge the psychological gap between your own vision as an owner and to actually get a team to embrace it? Because when I shared the video with my team the other day, they were really praising the modern technology, but they were not embracing it. And they said that this is all great, but it's not for us because our product is too elevated. It's very intricate. We have so much of detail intensity that this is not going to be for us. The way I read this in between the lines is that there is a fear factor that over time they would be replaced by modern technology. So how do you actually get the team to understand the importance of it in such a way that we move forward together, not just me with a very strong vision as an owner? So Ram, any thoughts on this?
It's first of all, people all and connected to almost anybody, anywhere. Question now is, let's just get down to the level where we say the fastest payback is step 3 and step 5 to go together first, and then we get to the step 1 and 11 later. But one has to look at the entire thing and say, what is the real picture that I want, and how do I connect all those dots? You understand what I'm saying? Am I clear on that? No.
Yeah.
I want to be able to first finalize what is my mission and then connect. Some of those things may be done internally and some of them may be done by other people.
It was.
So, yes, guys, so we're almost exceeded our time. So any concluding statements that you guys want to share? Madhu, do you want to share any concluding lines for today's session?
I would say that we should take the plus points which Ram has been mentioning and try and incorporate them. We've seen the benefits of the 3D technology, and we can always look for more avenues from where you can get 3D. But what 3D can do for us, we've understood. What are the systems, how to save costs, so how you increase your profit margins and how you are sustainable in this system. This is what we've learned today and explored the options in detail of 3D. Thanks. And thanks to you, Sonal, for having brought up this nice session. And it has, I think, all the people viewing our webinar would also be benefiting for it, and the manufacturers would be now more inclined towards technology and the different systems to make it more profitable for them.
Sure. Thank you so much. And Linda, what do you have to say on this today?
Well, I think it's going back again to the bare basics. I'm always trying to simplify it. Now we have created a lot of awareness through this session. And with that awareness, we can start making better choices. And I believe that those are the choices that we need to carefully analyze. How would we like to move forward, and understand that there is a need in the market to change. Either we change and we get modern over time, or we're not going to be a part of the business models in the future. So this is the right time, and I think events and webinars like this is just wonderful platforms for us to get connected and, you know, to learn and share the experience and, you know, the different angles of it. And I would just once again also like to say a huge thank you to you, Sanon, for always being there and, you know, taking initiatives, and of course my amazing co-panelists. Nothing would be possible without you guys. So it's been very interesting. I hope the audience find it interesting too.
I have a question which I kind of missed out. It was a question from Mr. Gopinath Ravi, where he said we need to improve our digital technology far more in terms of the smoothness, roughness of the fabrics should be felt as in the photos of the apparels. Why we need this in many e-commerce websites selling fake products under the name of silk sarees, and how we can ensure the material, the fabric from the photo itself, the faults of e-commerce should be eliminated from proper technologies. I think this was something which I think Mr. Ram could have addressed in terms of how integrate they can go in terms of, you know, putting these fabrics on the actual 3D images and how detailing can be seen. I'm sure with the new sort of, you know, photo imaging shop or the tools which are there on most of the websites, including we have it on Sowtex also, wherein the fabrics can be enlarged so that you can actually see the waft and the weft of the fabric. It actually gives you much more detailing of the product, and then it also depends upon the manufacturer as to how much he is able to give the detailing. And with e-commerce, the plus points are more, I would say, because of the fact that you're able to see the wider range of products which are coming from various regions on a single platform. So it gives a user a wider range to pick up the product, which are more important as because he's got a wider choice of buying. So if we are looking at the fake side and the original side, this is something, you know, as per in a big country like India, it's very difficult to control it because the manufacturers, the retailers, they cannot, you know, we cannot pick up the right retailer or the right manufacturer, and technology companies cannot go into the detail of making sure that whether the product is original or fake. So this is something which you have to be very, very careful in terms of buying the product. The more detailing you see when you're buying the product on the e-commerce or in the online space, the more detailing you are able to see, it tells you how much the product is authentic and original. And that's what I would like to say to all the fellow manufacturers and the exporters. Whenever you are doing online business, make sure that you put in as much detail as possible. The more detailing people will get to know, that's what kind of builds up more credibility for you as a manufacturer or as a retailer. So I would say thank you so much to all the panelists. We kind of lost Ram. We couldn't take his last comment on the platform, but it was amazing. Both Madhu and Linda, it was such a lovely to have you both again, and especially Madhu, I would like to thank you to get up at 4 in the morning in Canada and join us this session from overseas. We are almost at a different
time zone. Session.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss your session.
Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you once more and coming and sharing your knowledge, and we will keep improvising on our technology front. We keep sharing these knowledge sessions, and so that the industry eventually tends to benefit and intends to you know, improve in their in understanding on the adaptation of the new areas in the long run. So that's what our small initiative has been, and I think 4 months as part of this, we have been making slightly more progress and we have been successful. Thank you so much for joining in, and thank you to all the panelists and all the attendees who have been with us for such a long time. We overstretched by almost 30 minutes today. So we look forward to having you once again. Thank you once again, Madhu. Thank you, Linda, for joining us on this session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining.
Everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.